Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share on my Polytechnic experience. This is more for the locals in Singapore, especially for those who just went to who just had your first week in Poly this week, and this is going to be a great video for you to get to know some tips for surviving the poly education, how to maintain your GPA, and a couple of fun things that I highly encourage you to do when you are in poly. So I recently graduated from poly in February. Well, technically it wasn't an official graduation considering the whole quarantine status. I mean, this whole COVID-19 circuit breaker situation. So we ended school in February, and technically we were supposed to have our graduation in May, which is obviously not happening anymore. So we're just going to have our diploma certs delivered to us. But I graduated with a diploma in mass communication with a specialization in advertising and public relations. That was so long to say. But anyways, yeah, I went to Nghi An Polytechnic, and that is a great I would say that would be the best place to go if you are interested in the media industry. And yeah, if you like doing film stuff, or if you like media stuff, like if you like to do advertising, or you like radio marketing, all these kind of stuff, then you should come to my school, because it really provides a very nice, robust education, and I got a very fulfilling 3 years from it. So highly recommend. Yeah, so my final grade point average, my GPA was a 3.76, and to me that is a personal goal of mine. I think I'm very happy with what I got, because right from the get-go in year one, my aim was to get 3.7 and above. And later I will go into detail of, being worried about not hitting that mark by the end of my final year, because, there were some points where I had drops in my GPA, but we'll get into that. So tips for surviving in poly, that will be the first segment. Then we will talk about how to maintain your GPA, and then I will share some other trivial stuff. So my first tip is to manage your time, because there are going to be a lot of projects. Now, in a poly education, you are going to have to expect 80 to 90% of your work, your course, is going to comprise of group projects. And you're going to have so many different groups that you need to manage that time, to meet your friends, and also at the same time to complete your own individual assignments. So it's gonna be a roller coaster ride for sure. You're gonna have some weeks where you're gonna have 4 things due, 5 things due. It's gonna be insane. But you have some weeks which will be a bit more chill, maybe one or 2 things due. So it really depends. But yeah, I think managing your time is important, and it's very doable. For my course, it is very intense, especially because we don't have exams. We only have tests and group projects, and maybe some individual assignments. But we do not have like examinations, which a couple of other diplomas, they do have examinations. So yeah, it's very intense. But personally, for me, I didn't really struggle with time management, because to be honest, in my 3 years, the only times I have overnighted, I think I have only overnighted twice in my 3 years in poly, only twice. where I don't sleep the whole night at all, and it's very bad because I would fall sick. So that's not a very good idea. But yeah, I have friends who would really pull all-nighters for like so many different group projects, and I can see that it's really, really intense. But yeah, I think time management is important. Right from the get-go, when your teacher passes you an assignment, make sure you kind of start on it, or at least plan your timetable and know when you want to like do a little bit of research on it, or at least get something going in that assignment, so that you don't push it to a later date or you just keep delaying or procrastinating. Yeah. So the second point is independence. So many of you would probably have just finished secondary school and you are heading to poly, and I'm sure you guys are having just had your first week of poly, and even though it's online, I hope you guys are coping well and doing well, enjoying what you're learning. It's definitely a very different season in our life right now, and I'm sure you didn't really expect to start a new education like this, but well, life happens and you just have to suck it up. So yeah. Anyways, my second point was independence. So you're gonna need to understand that in a poly education system, you have to be responsible for the work that you are going to hand up to your teachers. I mean, we call them lecturers. So yeah, independence is key because no one is going to remind you when something is due. You could have something due the next day, you could have something due in 2 weeks, in a month, but you really have to get all the dates straight and really know when everything is due, so you can prioritize your time and know when you need to submit certain things or certain group projects or certain presentations. Yeah, so definitely that's one. Yeah, so the third point that I have here is to have social interaction. So compared to, secondary school where a lot of what you do is all revolving around you, ultimately you're going to take the O-level examination, everything is on you. But in poly, you are going to have group projects. So having interaction with your friends, getting to know people, it is especially important because you're gonna have to talk to people, get into discussions, throw out ideas with your friends, and you can't just be sitting there listening to what all your group mates have to say. You have to contribute. If not, you get PE'd. Yeah. And always pay attention in your lectures, because sometimes when you have individual mini tests, a lot of things that lecturers say would probably bound to be in those lectures, and it's very important that you pay attention. In poly, it's a lot of self-discipline because you're not gonna have, I mean, personally, in my secondary school, we had lockers and we put our phones in our lockers. If not, they get confiscated. So we never had our phones with us, which I can't say the same for a lot of other secondary schools. But when you're in poly, you have all your devices with you. You have your laptop, you have your phone with you. It is very, very easy to get distracted and to surf the web, play computer games online, to use your phone, go on social media. It's super easy to do all that while you're in lecture, and I mean, I have done it before and I have suffered the consequences as well. But that is something that you really have to push yourself to be responsible for your own learning. Yeah. Then you also have to take the initiative to get things going in your projects. So whenever you get an assignment from your teacher, it is so important that you get the ball rolling. You create a WhatsApp group, a Telegram chat, and then you start conversing with them and saying like, hey, when should we meet? Like, always ask for the first time to meet as a group to at least get something done, because if no one says anything, then the group project is going to stay stagnant and you guys are never going to progress to the next stage or the next level in completing this project. So always get the ball rolling, and yeah, plan your week ahead of time. This is so important to prevent clashes in project meetings. You're gonna have so many different projects. You could have 5-6 modules and all of them could have one project, and you're gonna have to meet different people. So it is very important that you are able to plan the week ahead of time. So you know, let's say Monday I'm meeting group A, Tuesday I'm meeting group B, or Monday you're meeting 2 groups, but in the morning you're meeting this group, in the afternoon you're meeting this group. So it's very important. And because you have, in the midst of meeting people, you're also going to have classes, you're also going to have CCAs. So yeah, just take note of these tips that I have for you. Yeah, so the next segment of this video is to share with you how you can maintain your GPA. So first of all, you guys are probably wondering, what's the GPA? It's obviously your final grade that you're gonna get at the end of every semester, and ultimately your final grade for graduating with your diploma. So you will have a cumulative GPA and a current GPA that you will see on your report card by the end of every semester. So the cumulative GPA is the one that you should be looking at ultimately for the end of your whole 6 semesters. The current GPA is how much your score for that semester itself. The cumulative is the one that will drop or increase based on how well you do for each semester, and that's how you accumulate your GPA until it gets to the final one. I hope I made it clear. I'm not too sure if I'm really good at explaining this, but yeah, make sure you don't slack off in your first year, because even though the first year may seem to be a smooth ride, or if you think it's going to be easy because it's just your first year in poly, that is so not true. It is very important to lay the foundation of your GPA at the start and right from the get-go, because the grade you get is going to start fluctuating, and it will start increasing, decreasing based on how well you do in the next few semesters to come. So it is very important not to slack off in your first year and to get as high as possible in your first semester itself. You'll probably hear a lot of people saying that it is very easy to drop your GPA, but it's very hard to pull it up, and I have witnessed it myself, so I can say that that is very, very true. Yeah, so just some pointers. If you want to get an A, you have to get 80% and above for that module. Once you hit a C+, your GPA is going to drop a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean by 0.1. So 0.1 is a lot because, for example, if I had 3.7, if I get a C+, I drop to a 3.6. And that is very bad, because you want to try and drop your GPA as little as possible. Internships are 22 credit units long. It is very, very, very important that you ace your internship and get, no matter what, you have to try and get yourself an A for your internship so that you get the full 22 credit units, and that will help to pull up your GPA so much. Yeah, and always for every semester, I would say try not to get a C+. Try to hit like a B+ and above, to prevent it from dropping too much. Yeah. So for me personally, let me just pull out my... Okay, so for me, in my first semester, I got about 3.73. So I wouldn't say that's a bad start. That was pretty good. But in my second semester of poly is where I had a small drop in my GPA, still 3.7, but at 3.72, so I dropped by a little bit. And that's still not too bad because I wasn't getting any C at that time. I was getting B plus and A, but I only got 2 A's at that time, so the rest were like a B. Then I think the semester that hit me the most was my first semester in year 2. So that was a really bad one because I got a C plus in one of my modules, and even though I got 3 A's, but the other 2 grades that I got was a B. I didn't get a B plus, I got B. So if you hit B and a C plus, your GPA is gonna drop. At the time, my GPA dropped to a 3.63. So from a 3.7 to a 3.6, it is a 0.1 drop, and 0.1 is a lot, as I've mentioned previously. And you know, obviously that's when it scared me, so I picked myself up and then I pushed myself. So within the next semester, I managed to get all A's and just 1 C plus, no B's at all, no B plus. So that helped to pull my GPA up by a bit. So I went from a 3.63 to a 3.66, and I think just from this itself, you can already tell how hard it is to pull up your GPA, simply because getting all A's, and I had 2 ADs, but all A's and just 1 C plus was not enough to pull it by a 0.1. You only could pull up by a 0.03. So you can see how intense that was. But thankfully, by the 3rd year with internship and my final semester, everything went well, and this is how I ended up with my final grade. Yeah, so that's all I have for GPA tips. Yeah. So fun things you can do in poly, or I highly recommend, is number 1, to join a CCA. So CCAs are not compulsory in poly, but I would say it is good to provide yourself with a holistic education, to give yourself some time off in the midst of all the intense work that you have to accomplish. And yeah, CCAs don't give you points to university or whatever. That doesn't happen, but it does give you records. So when you graduate, you know, they will show in your system, in your cert, like, oh yeah, she was a leader in this, or she was a tennis player in this. So it will have records like this, which may appeal to future interviewees at your universities. You know, at least they see that you were not just a workaholic, but you were someone who also took part in CCAs and had a robust education. Yeah. Then the second point is to go for a school trip. So I'm gonna plug my soul trip here. So the video that I shot in Korea, that was actually part of a school trip that I had, and it was very fun. I think school trips are very essential in a poly education. I think you should at least go for one when you are in poly. I went for mine in year 3, which is kind of a bit late because usually people go in year 1 and year 2, but nonetheless I still went, because even though you're going with juniors, usually if you're in year 3, people don't really go for trips anymore. But I went with the year 2s, and it was such a fun trip. Some of them were my juniors from CCAs, and some of them are like completely new people that I met. But it was a super fun trip, and I had so much fun just being in the trip, getting to know the culture in Korea, getting to try different food, and also getting to go for industry visits, which is relevant to your course. So you get to go to places that you would probably not be able to on your own. For me, we went to a news agency, like a newspaper publisher in Korea. Then we also went to a broadcasting station. We got to go behind the scenes for one of their famous Nanta. It's a Nanta show. If you guys know about the Nanta show in Korea, definitely go check it out. It's so good. But we got to meet the cast and ask them questions. Yeah, so it was a very enriching trip. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, so if you guys want to check that video out, you guys, I think I'll probably leave something here for you guys to click. But yeah, I hope you guys found the video useful. I'm not really sure if it was, but if you guys enjoyed it, if you guys want to know any more things about me, or I don't know, you want more cool videos or more useful videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. I am going to check that out for sure. Subscribe, like this video. I don't know, you cannot like this video, whatever, I don't really care. I just hope you found something to take away from this video, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye bye.